loss drugs like Ozempic are life-changing for millions of Americans. So much so that some are willing to take the risks that come with buying cheaper, non-FDA approved diet drugs.
In his series Selling Skinny, Chris Ingalls reports on a Tacoma woman who is sticking with a drug maker with a history of violations.
I tried Weight Watchers, and I was counting my poise. I've tried everything.
But nothing worked for this general manager at a Pierce County Denny's restaurant, a job surrounded by food all day.
I would see a particular food item go out, and I would think about those cheese sticks or that burger until I would eat it. I was at 225 pounds. I was tired all the time, and it wasn't really until this life-changing medication that I was finally able to get healthy.
The weight loss breakthrough for Tobi Ness of Tacoma was GLP-1, the blockbuster weight loss medication. With discount coupons, she started buying a name brand drug called Mounjaro.
It was amazing. The first month I lost 20 pounds.
Then the money-saving coupons ran out, and she started searching online for cheaper versions of the drug.
If you didn't go to another telehealth provider, you were going to pay $1,100 out of pocket for it.
Could you afford that?
Could not afford that. That's when Mochi came into play.
Mochi Health is an online-only business that sold Tobi a Mounjaro knockoff medication for $199 a month, plus a membership fee.
This is Mochi's new all-in pricing for both the medications and the membership.
At the time she joined 3 years ago, Mochi's sole drug manufacturing pharmacy was here in Kirkland, shipping out medications to thousands of patients across the country. But the King 5 investigators have found, behind the scenes, patient safety took a back seat to profits.
At every turn, it was, how can we make more money out of this?
Not patient-centered, it was more definitely for profit.
I honestly think they were just after the money.
Hi, what's your name?
What's your name?
I'm Mike Lamb. I'm with the Department of Health.
Okay.
As we've revealed over the last 4 months, state health inspectors found the pharmacy employed unlicensed workers. Managers even allowed them to perform the highly technical work of mixing or compounding the drugs in the facility's clean room, a job that requires a pharmacist license. Records show numerous quality control violations and the illegal importation of restricted drugs from overseas labs.
Immediately within about an hour to an hour and a half of taking that medication, I ended up in the hospital.
Illinois health authorities are investigating this Chicago man's claim that Mochi medicine made him violently ill.
At one point, they told me if I wouldn't have came in, if I wouldn't have came in when I did, I would have probably died.
The Washington State Pharmacy Board all but shut down the Kirkland facility last year, but Mochi Health remains in business. We've learned that Mochi is now using this pharmacy, Key Compounding in Federal Way, to fill orders in Washington State. A Key Compounding executive declined to answer questions for this story, as did Mochi Health.
I guess maybe I was one of the lucky ones. I never had a problem.
This is Dante, right here. Can you put us in touch with somebody? Dante, can you put us in touch with somebody? Tobi has been watching our Selling Skinny investigation, uncovering Mochi's history.
Doesn't that give you pause about whether what they're doing is safe?
I think at some point maybe they grew too fast. If they had the problems with that pharmacy, I really believe in my heart there's not going to be any problems with the other pharmacies.
And you really believe that this product is safe for you?
1,000%.
Her answer speaks to the powerful draw of GLP-1 drugs. There may be unknowns with off-brands, but one thing is certain for Tobi: the drug has changed her life.
I had lost 110 pounds in that year.
Only name brands made by pharmaceutical giants Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk are approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Mochi is one of a number of telehealths that peddle versions of those patented drugs in a regulatory gray area.
You don't get busted, essentially, and closed down immediately by the state unless you are doing something that is very wrong.
Richard Molitor is a licensed pharmacist in Washington State.
With any of these fad products, you'll find individuals who see the opportunity to make a quick buck.
He cautions against the GLP-1 knockoff versions.
Currently, people are being marketed based on price. Probably the worst thing you can do when it comes to your health.
But for many patients, it's the less costly drug or no drug at all. and that isn't an option for Tobi Ness.
Without these telehealth providers, this life-changing medicine that changed my life and gave me my life back, I wouldn't be able to have.
So here's a recent example of the risks of using these GLP-1 off-brands. 3 weeks ago, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration sent this warning letter to a Chinese biotech firm banning the importation of its GLP-1 peptide. It listed a bunch of safety violations, including questions about whether that peptide was even safe for human consumption. Now, we don't know what pharmacies here in the U.S. were purchasing their GLP-1 peptides, but critics say the low cost of these drug makers getting their ingredients from questionable places is what's driving this whole thing, and that's what's so dangerous.
Right. It sounds illegal, so why aren't authorities shutting these places down?
There's a nonprofit called the Partnership for Safe Medicines, and it says that the federal government needs to do more in these kind of cases. It says Mochi is a perfect example of that, a company that has all these violations here in Washington but is still in business today.
Yeah, this series has been so eye-opening, Chris. Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, you can catch up on the entire Selling Skinny series right now on the King 5 app, along with other King 5 investigations. By the way, the app is free to download.